They say speed is equal to the distance covered divided by the time taken to cover it. It is the sole difference between just driving and driving well. The hallowed tarmac of the Kari Motor Speedway in Coimbatore has honed the skills and tested the limits of the best race drivers in the country. This is a place steeped in history. A sort of linchpin between modernity and what has come to pass. As we head into our coverage of round 2 of the JK Tyre Racing Championship, we start by paying our respect to the institution that is the Kari Motor Speedway.
Winning is everything. So I'm driving for the win until the flag drops.
In race tracks, everyone wants to win.
You see, to everyone, I might be the only woman on track, but once the helmet's on, I'm nothing else but a racing driver.
I mean, it was a thrilling race from start to finish, up and down. So, I mean, I have no complaints in the end.
JK Tyre's association with Indian motorsport began 3 decades ago when the company took a conscious decision to lay down a long-term and sustained approach to promote Indian motorsport.
Back when we took this constructive decision that we are going to invest on motorsport, and the company got the whole package together. I was from the motorsport background, I was inducted in. We were from an era of rallying, and it was after 7 successive years that we realized that if you need to give a fillip to the sport, if you want the sport to be looked at by common man, you need to go back to the drawing board, you need to go back to a stadium sport. And that's how in 1997 we got this whole package together of racing, where we had a 800cc powered single-seater racing car, and we used to have Maruti Esteems as our saloon category. This is how we started, with very, very humble background. And as they say, rest is history.
And over these 3 decades, through the efforts of its motorsport division, the company has been associated with events in all forms of motorsport in India. From the JK Tyre Rally of Coimbatore, which is part of the National Rally Championship, to the TST format JK Tyre Hornbill Rally, held annually in Nagaland, and most recently, the JK Tyre Arunachal Festival of Speed, held for the first time in 2014 in the town of Dirang, Arunachal Pradesh. In the racing format, JK Tyre has the distinction of hosting the JK Tyre National Racing Championship, which is now in its 17th year, and the JK Tyre Rotax Max National Karting Championship, which has been going strong since the past decade and now in its 11th year. In all these years, it has been JK Tyre Motorsport's endeavour to break away from the elitist image that the sport has and make motorsport in India more affordable, and at the same time ensure that it is at par with international operating standards, and at the same time promoting Indian motorsport talent and making India a force to be reckoned with in the world of international motorsport.
You see, today we are in the bestest of situation, because I don't think we should look at this championship or any other scenario. We should look at Indian scenario, and we should be very proud that we have this fantastic entry level 100% Indian car, and as I said, is the cheapest form of racing that is available in the world. So come to the Indian driver. He has now got a program. He starts from 4-stroke karting in the backyard of his town, graduates to 2-stroke, graduates to LGB, graduates to the higher levels. So I would say if a kid has it in him, he can train himself in this country and actually now launch his career from F3 and above when he goes abroad, which was not the scenario earlier.
Arman Ibrahim is the son of India's first Formula 3 racer. With racing in his blood and really big shoes to fill, Arman has been on the inside of a fireproof suit for most of his 25 years. Today, he's one of the country's most successful tin-top racers. We caught up with Arman and asked him about life as a race driver, how he is where he is, and why he does what he does.
Arman Ibrahim is one of the rising stars of Indian motorsport, the second generation of talent to emerge after Naren Karthikeyan and Karun Chandok. He might be only 25 years old, but this racing star has more than a decade of experience behind the wheel.
If you want to become a racing driver, it's actually quite simple in India right now. If you want to get a taste of it, you've got just recreational karting, you go drive, then find, okay, now I want to go next level. I want to go, I'll do a training program first. I'll be sensible, I'll do a training program first, get a feel of it. Do a couple of programs, get comfy with it. Then, okay, I'll do my first race. Okay, I'll do the rookie championship first, So whether you're a 7-year-old or 12 or 17, doesn't matter. We have all classes, so you do the rookie first. Then, okay, now amongst the first timers, I'm quite good, Now I'm ready to step up to the next level. Boom. You test, you're ready, you drive. So there's a platform, there's a whole structure now, the ladder, you climb every step, you go step at a time. You don't want to jump and then struggle and then get demoralized. It's very easy to get demoralized when you come, you get your big expectations and suddenly you're 17th. Why, you don't know. But just that the other guys have been doing it for 10 years.
We caught up with Arman's father Akbar, who is a former race driver himself, to find out how it all began.
I actually never wanted him to get into motorsport. It was easy for me that I think I was just hoping that he would start playing a lot of cricket. He was very young, he was only 12 years old. And after 3 days in Bangalore, and he won that program. And they had a panel of judges from the federation also. And Wailong did not know that he was my son. And he came up to me and said that I want to take this kid and take him with me and train him in Malaysia, and I want him to stay with me. And I asked him, which kid are you talking about? And he was actually pointing out to Arman. And I said, why do you want him? He said, no, because I can see a lot of stuff in him, and I think he will make it big. So I want to really develop him. So he said, can I meet the parents? And then I said, the parent is standing in front of you. And he got a shock of his life, and that's when he came to know that Arman was my son.
Would you like to come to Malaysia or someone? If you work with me, I'll train you, but you also have to work as a mechanic and you'll learn the ins and outs. If you enjoy it, then I'll train you. Look, don't worry about it. I'll train that. I'll look after you. I was like, sounds pretty interesting. Let me go have a go. So I went and I spent, whatever I had holidays, I was in Malaysia and I would work from 6 to 6, going cleaning cars and learning everything. And by doing that, he also gave me a different chassis for every race in the Malaysian Championship and things like that. He taught me the basics of how do you repair a car and all the different types of chassis there are and engines. So I learned a lot in 2003, basic, and I told that, okay, I enjoy this, I want to see where it goes, and I was lucky enough that both my parents understood,
Becoming a race driver, though, is not as glamorous as it seems. It's sometimes a dirty job, literally, as Arman found out.
For the first 2 weeks, they did not let him touch a cart, and they actually made him clean the mechanics' toilets, which was part of the assignment. So he had to physically take the toilet cleaner and actually clean the toilet in the morning and in the evening. It was a Chinese method. When I later on heard about this, and I asked Wailong as to what was the connect and why did you do it? His answer was, he said, see, and we all know how tough this sport is, so I wanted to make sure whether he has it in him to handle the sport or he doesn't.
Motorsport is obviously an expensive sport, a sport only for the rich, some might say. But how far can money take someone? How did Arman and his family manage?
I've done GP2. I sold 3 grounds of mine, which was in his name from his mum, and it costed 1.5 crores, and he sold it. And we don't own a house even today. We still stay in a rented apartment. And he put it into his own racing.
It is an expensive sport, and it takes a hell of a lot of sacrifice to get to where, if you're going to get to a high level. It is, even if you're from a very wealthy background, it makes life easier because, you can self-fund yourself to a certain area. But it still hurts, after a point, because however rich you are, it still hurts, if you don't have enough backing, then if you're putting your personal money, it still hurts. However rich you are, I don't know. I mean, I'm from a simple background, but lucky enough, And I would thank my sponsors for that, JK, who picked me up first when I won my first race, and after that, the other sponsors that I've had over the years. It's enough to win both the championship in 2004 and move abroad immediately. So in 2004 was a great year. I won the karting and the racing. And I was only like 14, 15, and then from there on I got to go to Formula BMW. I won the scholarship there. I won my first race the same year and got a couple of podiums, so that was a good year then. And that's where it started getting really tough, because up to then I was well supported, the budgets are relatively low. So the sponsors came back, just JK was enough, and I got a scholarship that BMW compensated, But after the next level, when you have to go to Europe, that's the biggest jump, and then that's when I started suffering, Even though I had obviously JK and then Amron, Speed, and Elf who were backing me, but it still wasn't enough to compete with the best team. But we stuck it out there, and at a very young age, I got to drive a big car in A1 in the form of A1 GP.
Arman's already tasted international success, but what next? Where can a driver like Arman go? Formula 1 isn't always the end game.
When he can become a works driver for a factory team, I think that's what one is targeting to try and achieve. And for him, that would be his achievement, final achievement, when he becomes a works driver for any manufacturer.
Stay tuned to JK Tyre Racing Lines as things get even more heated up at the 17th JK Tyre Racing Championship.